The next phylum that we are going to study is phylum Arthropoda. Now this phylum is the largest phylum, and as many as 9 lakh species are found in this phylum. That is just to say, most of them might have been undiscovered in the tropical evergreen forests. So we can make it out that around 1 million species would be found in this particular phylum. Now it includes all those insects and rest of the buzzing organisms that often irritate you and get onto your nerves, and there is a large specific variation, as we talked about. 1 million is not a small term to denote the number of species. So we are going to deal about phylum Arthropoda now. Now according to certain authors and certain books, you would see that another phylum known as phylum Mollusca is at time placed before phylum Arthropoda, and phylum Arthropoda is placed after Mollusca. But certain books, they put Arthropoda and annelids in close proximity to each other, and according to them Mollusca is more advanced. So we are going to stay according to that, which puts Mollusca being more advanced because their larval stages are yet advanced in evolutionary terms. And as we started in the beginning that we are going to take phylogenetic considerations for classification, according to that Mollusca comes after Arthropoda. So now, because our syllabus has the structural organization and anatomical analysis of a particular arthropod known as cockroach, that is Periplaneta, so we need not to go into depth of these characteristics as we have seen other phylums. So we are going to take an overview of this particular phylum, and in-depth study, that is according to the arrangement of various internal systems, we are going to understand it in cockroach. Now what is phylum Arthropoda all about? One by one, all those characteristics that we study. The first one is that if we can break this name into something, that is Arthropoda. Poda means feet, arthro means joint, right? You have heard about arthritis, that is joint pain. So arthro word is from there, and poda refers to feet. So we are talking about a phylum which has jointed feet or jointed appendages. Okay, we are going to find feet. There are 3 pairs of jointed appendages, and in one class there are 4 pairs of jointed appendages, that is the spiders we talk about. Coming to the characteristic features, they are going to be triploblastic, they are bilaterally symmetrical, and they are acoelomate. Now this is somewhat wrong, they are coelomate, of course, they will have coelom inside them, okay. They won't be acoelomate because we are going to find the organ system grade, and that too so advanced. So there would be coelom that would be present. Now the body is segmented, and unlike the annelids, the segments are not as uniform as in the case of annelids. There are jointed appendages. Apart from the jointed appendages, there is jointed exoskeleton as well. So the body is covered by a chitinous exoskeleton. Now what is exoskeleton? Skeleton is something which gives shape to the body. If it is present inside the body, that means the epidermis is covering it, that means the outermost layer is covering the skeleton inside, as in our case it would be endoskeleton. And if that skeleton, that hard part which gives shape to the body, is present outside, alright, that would be known as exoskeleton. And in the case of insects and these arthropods, they have an exoskeleton made up of chitin. Okay, moving further, the segments in these bodies, they will not be separated by septa. When I talk about coelom will not be separated by a septa. Instead, there would be an arthrodal membrane that would be present. That is again part of cockroach study. Talking about the body now here is divided into a head, a thorax and an abdomen, 3 clear-cut distinctions, where the head has many segments fused and many antennae are arising from there. Then there is a thorax from where these jointed appendages originate. The thorax is the region from where the legs of the arthropod are going to arise, and abdomen does not give rise to any appendage. Instead, the most of the visceral organ systems would be present in the abdominal segments of the particular arthropod. Apart from this, at times both these head and thorax are fused in certain arthropods, and that condition is known as cephalothorax. Alright. Cephalo word is often used for head, so we have cephalothorax when head and thorax both are fused, as in the case of prawns. Those of you who eat seafood, they must be able to distinguish the shrimps. They are having a cephalothorax sort of thing, and there is an abdomen which would be different. It would be having abdominal segments. Then there is a respiratory system that is well developed. There are certain arthropodal forms which are terrestrial while other are aquatic. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind that now as we move further in the phylums, we are going to see the ubiquitous availability of the organisms. That means they are going to be present in terrestrial forms as well. They are going terrestrial regions, and they are going to be present in marine habitats as well. So that is what we see over here. According to the habitat, the respiratory organs would be different. If we talk about gills, as the name suggests from your earlier knowledge, you must be knowing gills would be present in those forms which are aquatic, which stay in water. Talk about book gills. These book gills are present in certain crabs, alright. Crabs, they survive in water as well as they come outside the water as well. So there are book gills which are present. Then we have book lungs. Book lungs are specific for spiders. Spiders have book lungs, and then we have tracheal systems which would be present in insects. Apart from these book lungs, these book lungs are present in spiders and certain different types of crabs again. Then we have excretion that is done by Malpighian tubules and green glands. Malpighian would be for terrestrial, green glands would be for aquatic. We have an open circulatory system where there is hemocoel present, that would be the cavity, and inside the hemocoel the fluid that is present is known as hemolymph, and the hemolymph has the organs directly bathed in it. That means the organisms, they would have sinuses present inside them. Then we talk about the sexual characteristics of these. They are unisexual, that means they will have a different male and a female. The fertilization is external in certain cases, and in the cases of terrestrial arthropods, the fertilization would be internal. In the case of external fertilization, what happens, the organisms, both male and female, they release their gametes in the external environment, and the fertilization would take place in that habitat. In the case of internal environment, the fertilization has to take place inside the female body, and then certain organisms of this phylum are oviparous, that means they lay eggs. Those eggs are going to hatch further. In certain cases, we have ovoviviparous organisms, as in the case of scorpion. You might have seen a scorpion, quite a scary animal. That scorpion is a viviparous one, ovoviviparous rather. The eggs hatch inside the body of the female. So we have these two things that are developing further, leading us to more complex life forms. The development could be direct or it could be indirect. In certain cases, when it is direct, then we have a thing known as molting, where the newborn or the insect or the arthropod which has hatched out of the egg resembles the adult, and that offspring undergoes certain molting stages and then forms a proper adult. There is little bit of difference between the characteristics of the adult and the offspring that is born. In the case of indirect development, we have larval stages, and I need not to tell you, caterpillar is the best example of larva. If we talk about these phylum Arthropoda, there are maggots. They are totally different from the adult. Their habitat could also vary from their adult forms habitat, and this one is really creepy to me in my eyes. This is the prawn. This is these two are water fleas. This is centipede. This is crab, and this is millipede. Now, because this is such a diverse, really diverse phylum, we are going to talk about the classes of this phylum, or rather subphylum, I would say. Now, I would put the previous picture on only because this one is not quite good. First class is class Crustacea, in which we have crustaceans. When I say crustaceans, I am referring to prawns and lobsters and barnacles. You know about these. the people who are fond of seafood, they can very well have water in their mouth thinking about these prawns, lobsters and barnacles. Alright, then we have Chilopoda, which is having millipedes in it. Okay, then we have Diplopoda, that has centipede, as we saw that so many feet, stinging cells they are having. Their mouth has pincers, the mouth which has pincers and teeth and different parts of the mouth, they are first segments that fuse and form head. Then we have Insecta, the most diverse. Talk about praying mantis, talk about grasshopper, talk about cockroach, talk about honeybee, all these belong to class Insecta. I need not to say insects. Okay, then we have Arachnida. Now Arachnida has spiders and scorpions. Alright, and the last one is, it is having not more than 2 or 3 genera, that is Merostomata. I guess it is having, not I cannot say I guess, it is having 3 genera of horseshoe crabs. So this is the simplest classification. All you have to keep in mind is, if you can learn these names, it would be better for you to understand the examples of this particular phylum. Now one by one we are going to see the examples. First one is Limulus, that is the king crab. Second one is Araneus, that is garden spider. Third one, all these are scientific names. This is king crab. This one is Araneus, is garden spider. Now when I am doing these things, you can associate the classes to which they are belonging. This would be arachnid, right? Then we have Eupagrus, that is hermit crab, and these are aquatic forms. Hermit crab. Then we have Lepisma, that is silverfish, commonly comes and destroys your expensive cloth material in your cupboards, that is silverfish. Then we have termites, we have ants, then we have the scorpion, that is known as Buthus. As many examples as you can learn, it is up to you. The simplest name is Cancer, that is crab. We had seen Scolopendra and other examples over here. Then we have the honeybee, that is Apis. Then we have locust. There are many examples that we can have for arthropods. It is up to your will which you want to learn, and whichever you want to remember by heart. It is better if you see the pictures and then learn the examples. The scientific names are easy to learn. If you keep on remembering them, you should see them. You should keep on reciting those names, and it's better you give a friend a common name, scientific name, so that you can learn it. Giving names to your friends and other peers would be easier for you to learn. And with this we are done with phylum Arthropoda. Whatever things that we have to study in terms of understanding of the main body plan of the arthropod, that would be covered